Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Triangle of Friends. I'm Munish. As always, I'm joined by Nishant. We got a first glimpse of the KD Harden duo yesterday against a big team, didn't we? Against the Milwaukee Bucks. It went down to the last position, but eventually they did come out. They did come out the winners, and I wanted to talk about that today on an episode. KD and Harden that good enough? With another piece yet to be added, that's Kyrie Irving. Are they really good enough to run over everyone else? At least in the East, because they beat the toughest team in the East. I would like to think Milwaukee are the toughest team in the East, at least in the regular season, and they beat them. It did go down to the last position, but they didn't look like losing at all because, come on, they are scoring 120 plus. They got two games now. Harden is lighting it up, 30 points and 10 assists in each of those games.
Yeah.
This duo has 138 points in the first two games. That's the second highest ever by any new duo in the NBA after Will Chamberlain and whoever he played with, because Will Chamberlain scored 145 of those.
Yep.
But is this team like really the team to watch out for now? And now Kyrie Irving is set to return later this week. What were your takeaways from this game?
Yeah. So I think this game confirmed what we already knew that Kevin Durant and James Harden are elite players. I mean, hey, newsflash. KD is already second in the league in points per game, and he's just warming up. He's not even. This isn't full blast. KD is already second in the league, and the number one guy by a mile is Bradley Beal, who's almost there just to stat pad this season in Wizards. I'm not saying he stat pads, but what choice does he have? His numbers are bound to look good. So we found out these guys are elite. If anyone didn't know this already, Harden dropped a 30-point triple double, the only guy to do that on debut for any team, and then followed that up with another 30 and 10 piece. And most importantly, both of them resulted in wins. So
Yep.
KD is playing at an elite level, Harden's playing at an elite level, and it's translating to wins. Great, right? First win was against
Mm-hmm.
Orlando Magic, big deal. The second one,
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Now we're talking.
Yep.
Here's me playing devil's advocate now, because
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to say this team's unbeatable, right? Who's going to
Mm-hmm.
stop this offense? It's not just these
Mm-hmm.
two. All the starters were in double digits in scoring. Harden is not just scoring; he's playmaking at an elite level. He's facilitating. Yes, he's giving up a few turnovers, but when you're throwing so many ambitious passes, you're bound to turn a few over. That's fine. I mean, who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do it? Luka does it. Trey Young does it. All of these guys do the same thing. Now, the challenge here is once Kyrie comes back,
Mm-hmm.
that's another person. And at some level, it's got to be a zero-sum game. There are only so many possessions in a match that you can have. So he's going to get some of these possessions. Now, how does
Mm-hmm.
that work? Is it rotations? Do you play all three on the field at the same time? If so, who has the ball? And these again are obvious questions, but these are questions to be asked.
Yep.
And the real question though is, if you're a coach, you can figure out some combination of these three, and you can
Mm-hmm.
keep doing this again and again. It's almost like you have an all-star team offense. The question is, will each of these guys be happy with it? I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure KD will do whatever it takes. He's always been a team guy. James Harden at this stage is probably inclined to do whatever it takes because he's done it all otherwise, and he's seen that doesn't work. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get wins and to get to that chip, which seems to be his ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
Is Kyrie, first of all, with Kyrie, is basketball the first thing on his mind right now? I don't think it is.
Okay.
And is he going to be okay with this? Because Kyrie walked out of Cleveland because he didn't want to be someone's number two. He went to
Right.
Boston. He was clearly the number one, and he didn't do that role pretty well. He went
Right.
to Brooklyn, again, caused a mess in the locker room early on. But he was, at least for that season, when he played, the number one player on the court. Then with KD back, maybe he was going to be number two. Now, was he okay with that? Sure, they're friends. They do podcasts together. They're probably singing Kumbaya in the offseason. They're
Mm-hmm.
friends. But now here comes Harden. And I don't know if someone's told Kyrie, but he's the number three option on this team now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no
So
debate. As elite as he is, he's the number three option on this team. So, will he be okay with it, right? Yeah, go ahead.
So are you in some way implying that the addition of Kyrie to this duo will somehow make the team less stronger than it already is? Because for me, I see James Harden like this. With a player on the West, like he had Russell Westbrook, he had Chris Paul. He did well with the Houston Rockets, right? I mean, he took them to the Western
Yeah.
Conference Final once. He was just one game away from the Western Conference Final even last time, but he didn't have that KD with him. Now, James Harden and KD, I see this team with them both itself a very strong team.
I agree.
Are you in some way implying that the addition of Kyrie will somehow downgrade this team from what it already is?
I don't think it downgrades their play. I think it downgrades their chemistry. And
Mm-hmm.
anyone who says chemistry doesn't matter in the playoffs is a fool. Have you not watched the Clippers last season?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Chemistry leads to momentum, leads to morale, leads to effort that you're willing to give on the field. It leads to um, you maybe not wanting to fight back as hard when your backs are up against the wall. All of these things are a byproduct of chemistry, of how much you believe in each other and trust in each other, and adrenaline and all of the other stuff that kick in at the time. Now, my biggest problem in the playoffs. Look, this team's likely to make the NBA Finals. I think that's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
safe bet right now. I don't see
Mm-hmm.
anyone from the East outside of like a fully fit, firing on all cylinders Philadelphia, which by the way is the matchup I want to see in the East. Brooklyn against Philadelphia, everyone being fit, because they've got the defense to match these guys. Barring that, they're going to the finals. Now the question is whether they play the Lakers or whoever else, shockingly, comes out of the West, if not the Lakers. Are these guys going to be up for that? 7 games potentially back to back against the same opponents when the opponents are going to learn how to pick you apart. We've not yet seen this Brooklyn Nets team challenged on defense. Now they've beaten the Milwaukee Bucks, yes, but it came down to the last shot. And even on
Right.
that last shot, it was bricked by Harden. Harden bricked an open three before KD made the follow-up
Yeah.
shot off an offensive rebound. And Middleton's shot could have gone in, and that's the ball game right there. Middleton could have spotted Giannis making that run. So it just came down to one play, and they won that match. It wasn't like they blew the Bucks out. I want to see how they fare against the Celtics, how they fare against the 76ers. It's early days. The signs look great. But with Kyrie coming in, there's always going to be that team chemistry, man management. How do you distribute the offense that everyone's happy? Or is it such a utopian scenario in their locker room that everyone's willing to sacrifice their own stats for the sake of the chip? That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a handful for Steve Nash, who's never been a coach before this. A handful for D'Antoni and Stoudemire, all of whom combined to be a part of that Phoenix Suns team, all offense, no defense disaster in the playoffs. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the only other concern that I have. What about their defense? I don't see the Brooklyn Nets defense being tested yet. When that day comes, are they going to step up? There's no elite individual defenders here, but can they at least figure out team defense?
Right.
So that's kind of my resting point and my final point. And I made this in the previous episode, right? Which is since 2004, there have been 6 teams that have won the chip without being a top 5 defense in the league. Only 6 times has it happened in the last 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right, 5 of those were Miami Heat with Shaq and Wade and LeBron and all of that, and LeBron's Cavs that came back from 3-1 down, Kobe's Lakers in 08-09. But all of these teams were still within the top 10 defenses in the league. There's no team that has been 11th or worse in defense that has won the league in the last 26 years. Brooklyn Nets were 13th even before they traded away all of their good defensive pieces to bring in James Harden, who isn't going to light it up on defense. So that's another big box. Now, if the argument is this offense is so all world that they're going to
Mm-hmm.
demolish anyone, yeah, I've heard that before, but outside of Golden State, I've not seen it work before. Everyone shooting lights out all the time in the playoffs when the other team knows what to expect. It's not infallible. Like, it can be beaten. So they'll have to shore up their defense, and I'll have to see Kyrie. I'm actually thinking these guys are better off without Kyrie. If it's just Harden and Kevin Durant with all of the other guys, maybe trade Kyrie. It's not going to happen, but trade Kyrie for some depth. I think would be this team would be better off without that, without all of that drama and distraction.
And that's what I thought too. Yesterday, they integrated Joe Harris as a very useful third
Yeah,
piece. He shot 5 threes. He was very efficient in the limited shots that he got. Kyrie will be as efficient, but will he be happy with those limited shots? I don't think so. Also, DeAndre Jordan was good yesterday. He got like 10, 12 rebounds. He was the big guy.
right.
But can he do it over the course of a season? I don't think he's that
Yeah,
guy anymore. And without DeAndre Jordan on the team, right? If he's in foul trouble or if he's rested for a
yeah. They
bit,
have no backup. Yeah,
they have no backup and they go ultra small ball. I mean, Kyrie is no big. James Harden is no big. KD, yes, he can defend, but is he that guy? No, I don't think so. So they're going to be ultra small ball, and we all know how small ball really works out if it
yeah.
doesn't click.
Right.
So a lot of things to fix yet for the Brooklyn Nets. I know 2 wins out of 2 with the new James Harden trade coming in and all of that, but I still think I agree with you when you say a long way to go, and we'll be interested in seeing how they fare against the Boston Celtics, the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah,
These are teams that I'd be interested in seeing. Milwaukee, yes, was one of them.
yeah.
They got through that hurdle just about, but a
Right.
long way to go still.
Yeah, I think it's easily the most interesting team to follow right now as to how they piece all this together. Also, these guys are playing a lot of minutes right now. At some point, with 3 superstars like that, you'll want to
Yeah.
shuffle the minutes around, get some get some rest, get some load management in game. I'm not just saying missing games. So then that's also a very interesting puzzle, and it's fascinating to see how this offense plays out. Forget whether they win or not, right? I'm dying to see this team play basketball, because all of the permutations with all three superstars on the court, how does that look? And at this point,
Absolutely.
I'm not even saying how will they fail. I'm just saying I'm excited to see how it looks. And can they do like a Kyrie Harden small ball lineup for a while? Can they do Kyrie and KD, which we saw for a bit, and that worked great.
Yep.
So the opportunities are endless here. But I'm just also worried about the playoffs can be grueling, and after a long regular season where two players are coming off of big injuries, to go into the playoffs and have hardly any depth. What does that mean? It means when you're resting the stars, you'll either have to figure out rotations, which means each permutation within that trio should work,
Hmm.
or you're faced with a scenario where you're relying on the bench to score and they don't have all that much off the bench to score. So if people are having an off night, then you've got your stars playing heavy minutes again. And
Yep.
it can be done. Look, again, we're just now trying to pick apart um, reasons as to why this team might fail, because right now it just seems too good to be true, this lineup.
Absolutely.
And usually when something seems like that, it almost always is. So again, let's see. It'll be fascinating to watch this team, though. I'm just waiting to. I don't care if they don't win. This is easily the most exciting project in basketball in years.
Absolutely. Whether they win or not, I think this is one team that we'll focus on pretty much. And I'm sure a lot of talk and discussion to
Yeah.
come about this team in the near future as well as over the course of the season, I think. That's all for today. Thank you for joining in and see you soon.
Cheers, man. Take care.